I didn't say a word when they handed me that cease and desist letter. I just pulled out my electrical engineering degree and watched their faces turn white. The Maple Ridge Estates HOA thought they could bully a deployed Marine's wife while I was serving overseas. These suburban dictators had no idea they were about to face a combat engineer who specializes in electrical warfare. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment below because you're about to witness the most satisfying HOA takedown involving federal solar rights law, military engineering, and how one Marine turned suburban tyranny into a federal crime scene. Let me introduce you to Marcus Rodriguez. That's me, 36 years old, Marine Corps combat engineer, and the guy who just turned a neighborhood dispute into a federal case involving the Department of Energy. My wife, Elena, and I bought our dream home in Maple Ridge Estates 3 years ago, specifically because of the HOA's written promise that solar installations were encouraged for environmental sustainability. That was before Karen Henderson took over as HOA president. Karen's 48 years old, drives a white Mercedes SUV, and treats homeowners like subjects in her personal kingdom. She's got that particular brand of manufactured authority that comes from never facing real consequences. The kind of woman who calls the police when kids play too loudly, then complains about response times when actual emergencies happen. While I was deployed in Syria managing power grids for forward operating bases, Karen was busy rewriting HOA rules to ban anything that didn't match her vision of suburban perfection. Solar panels, she decided, were unsightly industrial equipment that lowered property values. I came home to find violation notices covering my house like some kind of legal snowstorm. Apparently, my wife's beautiful solar array, the one we'd saved 2 years to install, was now classified as a commercial industrial eyesore subject to immediate removal. The violation notice was a masterpiece of bureaucratic intimidation. Homeowner Rodriguez has 30 days to remove unauthorized rooftop installations or face daily fines of $500, legal action, and potential foreclosure proceedings. That's when I realized this wasn't about property values. This was about power, both electrical and political. See, while I was overseas, Karen's husband Steve had started an approved contractor program through the HOA. Coincidentally, Steve owned the only HVAC company on the approved list. Solar panels meant homeowners didn't need his overpriced heating and cooling services. The first attorney I called quoted me $50,000 just to challenge the rule change. Turns out fighting HOA tyranny is expensive when you don't know federal law. But here's what that lawyer didn't know. I spent 2 years wiring military installations and learned something important about electrical regulations. Federal law trumps local HOA rules every single time. The Solar Rights Act of 2008 makes it illegal for HOAs to ban solar installations. The Federal Trade Commission considers solar panel bans a form of consumer fraud, and the Department of Energy has enforcement authority that makes local courts look like kindergarten. While Karen was busy printing violation notices, I was researching federal regulatory authority like I was hunting for IEDs. And just like in combat zones, the devil was in the details. I discovered that Maple Ridge Estates had received Federal Energy Star certification in 2019, which required a commitment to renewable energy integration and homeowner sustainability options. Karen's solar panel ban violated their federal certification agreement. But it gets better. Steve's HVAC monopoly was using the HOA to eliminate competition, which violates federal antitrust law. The Sherman Act doesn't care if your monopoly runs through a homeowners association. Karen escalated when I challenged her authority. She organized an emergency HOA meeting to discuss dangerous electrical installations and invited the local fire department for a safety inspection of my solar array. The fire chief arrived, spent 10 minutes examining my professionally installed system, and told Karen it exceeded all safety codes. "Ma'am, this is actually a model installation. We should recommend this contractor to other homeowners." Karen's response was pure suburban dictator. The fire department doesn't understand aesthetic property value impacts. That's when I knew she was more desperate than dangerous. While Karen was staging her neighborhood drama, I was building a federal case. I filed complaints with the Federal Trade Commission about consumer fraud, contacted the Department of Energy about certification violations, and reached out to the Solar Energy Industries Association about systematic harassment. The breakthrough came when I discovered Karen had been taking kickbacks from Steve's approved contractor scheme. Bank records showed regular payments from his HVAC company to her personal account, disguised as consulting fees. Here's your knowledge nugget. HOA corruption involving financial kickbacks is federal racketeering, prosecuted under the RICO Act with mandatory prison sentences. The solar panel war escalated when Karen hired a private company to conduct electrical safety inspections of every solar installation in the neighborhood. This wasn't about safety. It was systematic harassment designed to force expensive compliance modifications. But Karen made one crucial mistake. The inspection company she hired wasn't licensed for electrical work in our state. Every inspection they conducted was illegal, and every violation notice they issued was fraud. I documented everything with military precision. Photographs, timestamps, recorded conversations, and financial records proving the kickback scheme. Elena installed security cameras that caught inspection crews attempting to sabotage solar connections. The federal response was swift and devastating. The FTC opened a consumer fraud investigation, the Department of Energy suspended Maple Ridge's federal certifications, and the FBI raided Karen's home looking for evidence of mail fraud. Steve's HVAC company lost their contractor license. Karen faced federal racketeering charges, and the HOA board dissolved faster than sugar in rain. The environmental victory exceeded every expectation. Without HOA interference, 47 homes installed solar panels within 6 months. Our neighborhood became a model for renewable energy integration, attracting federal grants for additional sustainability improvements. Property values increased 23% after we became the region's first solar-powered community. Turns out environmental sustainability attracts buyers more than Karen's aesthetic control ever did. The personal satisfaction was knowing we'd fought corruption and won. Elena and I expanded our solar array, added battery storage, and now sell excess power back to the grid. Our energy bills went from $340 monthly to $23. Karen Henderson pleaded guilty to federal fraud charges and got 18 months in federal prison. Steve's company paid $890,000 in fines and got banned from government contracts. The ripple effects spread across 3 states. The Solar Rights Legal Defense Fund used our case to challenge HOA solar bans nationwide. 47 similar lawsuits were filed within a year, protecting thousands of homeowners from energy tyranny. Today, Maple Ridge Estates generates enough renewable energy to power 340 homes. We host solar installation workshops, environmental education events, and veterans' renewable energy training programs. Every morning when I check our energy production levels, I remember something important. Sometimes the best way to fight power-hungry dictators is to generate your own power. If you're fighting HOA overreach, environmental destruction, or suburban tyranny, document everything, know federal law, and remember, the sun shines for everyone, not just whoever controls the HOA board. Next week, I'm telling you about the city that tried to shut down our veterans' organic farm, so we supplied fresh vegetables to their biggest political rivals' campaign events. That's a story about growing your own victory, one tomato at a time. Solar power is freedom, y'all, and freedom always finds a way to shine. Don't forget to drop a comment and tell me your HOA horror story. I read every single one and reply when I can. Hit that subscribe button if you want more stories about communities fighting back against corruption and winning. And remember, if you're dealing with HOA overreach, document everything, know your federal rights, and never let suburban dictators dim your light. Next week, I'm telling you about the city that tried to shut down our veterans' organic farm. So, we supplied fresh vegetables to their biggest political rivals' campaign events. That's a story about growing your own victory, one tomato at a time. Your voice matters, your rights matter, and your solar panels matter too.